Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another Ranger Retrospective. Today we're looking at the 7th season of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Now, this is still kind of vaguely related to the earlier seasons, but it's much more distant. Zordon is dead, Post in space, and the other Rangers really don't have that much to do with it until the very end. So the basic premise of this show is that mankind is going out into the stars to find a new planet to live on, so they launch a basically floating satellite called Terra Venture. So this has its own ecosystem, and it's traveling through the stars. And what happens is, I believe it sucks through a wormhole or something. Anyway, it ends up deeper in space than it should, and on an alien planet that's being destroyed by an evil entity called Scorpius. This giant tick-looking thing. Looks nothing like a scorpion, but hey, let's call him Scorpius. And he's destroying the planet, and the Rangers find these magic swords, and these swords turn them into the Lost Galaxy Power Rangers. So we have these guys. Again, since they're all new, so we have... I can't remember their names. Oh, this is embarrassing. It's been a long time. We have Leo, the Red Ranger. He's the most important. Basically, none of them really got characterization in this series anyway. Then we have the Yellow Ranger, who's like a jungle chick. The Green Ranger, who is a mechanic. The Blue Ranger, who is like a nerd military dude. And the Pink Ranger, who is kind of like a scientist, if memory serves. And that's basically our team. But they did get very little development. So the essential premise of this series is the space probe is traveling through the galaxy while Scorpius attempts to destroy it. We also have this guy who rocks up, who is the 6th Ranger of the season. He's one of the coolest 6th Rangers, and he is the Magna Defender. Now, the Magna Defender's family were killed by Scorpius, so he's hell-bent on revenge, and he's a very cool character in that he's morally grey. He doesn't care if Terra Venture is destroyed, if the Rangers die, he just wants to get his revenge on Scorpius. Obviously, this being Power Rangers, that attitude is changed by the persistence and good nature of the other Rangers. What complicates matters is, Leo, who ends up being the Red Ranger, wasn't the one who drew the sword that makes you the Red Ranger. That was his brother, Mike, I believe was his name. And anyway, before Mike can really use the sword, it seems like he dies. So Leo sort of picks up the sword vicariously, and we find out that Magna Defender is possessing Mike's body. So, through a big event, basically, Mike ends up back in control. The Magna Defender personality dies, but Mike keeps the powers. So, we have them as the basic Ranger unit. Midway through the series, Scorpius is killed. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Scorpius has a daughter, Trekina. And Trekina is easily one of the best villains Power Rangers have ever produced. Her story is just Shakespearean, and yeah, she was one of my favorites growing up, and I think she may have, dictated a lot about my taste in women growing up. It would explain a lot. Anyway, basically, when Scorpius dies, she swears to avenge him. But the problem is she's not a fighter. In fact, her race's whole shtick is that at a certain age they're meant to go into a cocoon. This evolves them to their final form, which is meant to be very ugly and hideous, much like this. And she didn't want to do it. So she goes out and she finds someone to train her so she can avenge her father without sacrificing her looks. To that end, she finds Villamax, who is, again, a very cool villain. He's actually got an honor system, he trains her, they have a really caring and decent, mentor-apprentice relationship. It's great to see. And she does become a badass, but, she still can't do the deed and destroy the Rangers. What does come close to destroying the Rangers is the return of the Psycho Rangers from last season. Now, I didn't show you the Psycho Rangers in the last video, but this is a Psycho Ranger. Basically, they all look like this, but the color will change to match the respective Ranger they're fighting. So, there's 5 of them. There's a black, a red, a blue, a yellow, and a pink. And they were released in a very crappy move by Hasbro in a 5-pack, even though they'd released 2 of them singly already. But let's not get into that, it's just a poor business decision. Anyway, the Psycho Rangers rock up. They're stopped when the Lost Galaxy Rangers team up with the In-Space Rangers and, destroy them. Except the Pink. Now, she comes up with this scheme, and essentially, to stop them, the actual Pink Ranger from this season has to sacrifice herself. She dies. We legitimately lose a Ranger. So towards the end, we need a new Pink Ranger to step in and fill her shoes. And we get Astronomer. The villainess from the last season returns and becomes the new Pink Ranger, and does a good job. She's probably one of the best Pink Rangers, and she has barely any screen time, like, comparatively, so it was a good job, and it was a cool little nod to the older seasons, a good way to keep that continuity coming back. So, Lost Galaxy had a lot going for it, I guess. Anyway, the ultimate conclusion is, all throughout the season, there is this dude, Deviant, who works for Trekina and her father, and as his name implies, he devious. But he wants to, supplant Trekina, and it ends in a struggle, and they both fall into the cocoon that's meant to morph her into her final form at the same time, which leads us to having evil Trekina. Now, evil Trekina, she has none of her nice qualities, and she becomes a massive threat. In fact, she uses her troops as suicide bombers on Terra Venture. It's super extreme, and scuttles the ship. Now, they do crash land on a new habitable planet, and to get her final revenge, because she's not quite powerful enough, Trekina has to enter the cocoon again, and reaches her final state, which is this. What follows is one of the coolest final fight scenes we ever get in Power Rangers, because one of the Rangers, again, essentially tries to sacrifice themselves to win, and he doesn't die, but Trekina is stopped, and everything is saved, and mankind has found a new planet to settle on. Yeah. That is Lost Galaxy. A lot happens in Lost Galaxy on the villain side. It is a deep season. Not for the Rangers, though. Like, I've pretty much covered everything important that happened to the Rangers. The Magna Defender, Mike sacrifices his powers to get them out of, like, a galaxy they slink into at one point. But that's just, like, a useless side quest in the grand scheme of things. Lost Galaxy had some great moments. And again, loved Trekina's storyline. But after In Space, it just wasn't quite as good or as strong. Yeah, but still a very, very solid season. And it's just where all this sort of interesting writing, and the writing for the villains of this season carries on into the next season, where again, we had just incredible story arcs regarding the villains, and stronger Rangers in terms of characterization. So I think this laid the groundwork for Lightspeed Rescue, so I do like it a lot for that as well. But yeah, Lost Galaxy is a very strong season. Okay, I guess that's it. If you enjoyed this video, we have plenty more. We've got Hero House, Figure Fights, the Records, Top 10 lists, and ranking lists, so loads of content to enjoy. So please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks for your time and all the best. Bye!